disclaimer. I realize that I have two big posts and I often read them from the screen to allow you guys to get the knowledge about my spinal cord injury and the many hardships that people with a spinal cord injury face. And I was doing it by a 26-letter day challenge, and I also do want to apologize. I said 27, but my brain was fried. There are actually 26 letters in the alphabet, so there are 26 letters. I am doing a 4-part series. It is celebrating my 4-year anniversary of a spinal cord injury by sharing letters that have a meaning behind them, issues I face and other people face. There will be 4 parts or 5 parts in total, and each of them will contain around 6 to 7 letters, or 8. If it's great, it's going to contain 10. These will be uploaded in the last days of September. The first one is going to be September 26th. The second one is going to be September 27th. The third one is going to be September 28th. The fourth one is going to be September 29th. And the last one, maybe, if that one gets out, is going to be on the last day of September. So, thank you all so much for celebrating Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month with me by indulging into these videos, by hearing my thoughts and my stories about living with a spinal cord injury. So, I appreciate it. It is day 13 of sharing an alphabet letter that correlates to one problem out of the several that people with a spinal cord injury go through. The reason I'm sharing this with you all is because it's Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. This is a very important month to me, and I can imagine several others. Many people, after breaking their neck or back, have to go through their life all over again, relearning a lot of already grasped skills beforehand. Spinal cord injury is scary and can change people's perspectives on how simple tasks can take every ounce of strength we've gained. Today is letter M. The letter M stands for muscle spasms. Both Emmy and I are quadriplegics, though at different levels of injury. One thing we and many others in the SCI spinal cord injury community have in common is muscle spasms, and let me tell you, they might be the second most annoying thing we deal with on a daily basis. Spasms can happen anywhere below our level of injury. For me, that includes my arms, wrists, fingers, legs, core, and back. Luckily, my spasms aren't too severe. They're frustrating, sure they can be more intense during transfers, but not to the point where they disrupt my entire day, or require medication like baclofen, or worse, a baclofen pump, a device that about the size of a hockey puck that delivers medication straight into the spinal cord through surgery. Now, Amy's spasms aren't terrible either, but hers can be a little more intense than mine, shockingly. One scary moment stands out. She was transferring from her bed into her chair one morning. The dresser was right nearby, and as soon as she got seated and rolled back slightly, her back spasmed so hard that her entire chair flipped backward, and her foot hit the dresser. She landed flat on the floor and had to call my husband Matthew for help. Thankfully, nothing was broken, just some bruising. But it was definitely a wake-up call. She now has anti-tip bars on her chair, and we're super grateful for that. But here's the twist. Muscle spasms aren't all bad. Believe it or not, they actually help us retain muscle mass in our arms and legs. The muscle tone helps protect our bones. Shout out to the skeleton crew. And can even be useful in specific situations. Emmy, for example, can trigger a leg spasm to get blood flowing back to her head when she's feeling lightheaded. She also learned how to trigger a hand spasm to get a tighter grip on something. So yes, spasms can be a real pain, but they're also a strange kind of ally in this journey. Life with SCI is all about adapting, learning, and finding silver linings where you can least expect them. That's letter 13 of 27. See you for letter N. It is day 14 of sharing an alphabet letter that correlates to one problem out of the several that people with a spinal cord injury go through. The reason I'm sharing this with you all is because it's Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. This is a very important month to me, and I can imagine several others. Many people, after breaking their neck or back, have to go through their life all over again, relearning a lot of already grasped skills beforehand. Spinal cord injury is scary and can change people's perspectives on how simple tasks can take every ounce of strength we've gained. Today is letter N. N is for nerve pain. One of the most common questions I get is, what do you feel in the areas of body where you don't have sensation? It's a fair question and not always easy to answer. For me, it's not complete nothingness. In fact, the sensation I feel is hard to describe, but the closest comparison is that pins and needles feeling when a limb falls asleep. The tingling, buzzing sensation when blood rushes back in and it starts to wake up. Now imagine that sensation, but less intense, more diffused, and present all the time. Since my spinal cord injury in 2021, that's been my baseline, a quiet, static-like tingling in my legs and core. It's not exactly painful or even uncomfortable, more like a background hum I've grown used to unless I specifically focus on it, but I can mostly tune it out. But that's not the full story. There's another side to nerve pain, the kind that isn't mild or ignorable. Sometimes, especially in my arms and back, I experience what I describe as sharp stabbing pain or a fiery needle prick sensation that seems to come out of nowhere. It's fleeting but intense. And if I don't take my medications or if I tune into it too much, it can feel overwhelming. It's these moments that remind me just how unpredictable nerve pain can be. Why does this happen? Nerve pain in SCI is complex, and it varies dramatically from person to person. Here's why. Nerve damage from trauma to the spinal cord disrupts communication between the body and brain. Sensory signals can be misinterpreted. So normal touch or temperature can register as pain. Whenever hot water goes on my body, it feels as if I'm being burned alive. Sometimes pain signals fire spontaneously without any external stimulus at all. This type of pain is called neuropathic pain, and it's notoriously difficult to manage because it doesn't follow the same rules as other kinds of pain. The extent and the type of nerve damage plays a big role in what you can feel, and unfortunately, outcomes can be very unpredictable. I count myself lucky that my nerve pain is generally mild. I know for many in the SCI community, neuropathic pain can be debilitating and impact every aspect of daily life. My experience may not offer much guidance for those dealing with severe pain, but I do want to acknowledge that just how real and challenging it can be. If you are someone with insight, experience, or tips for managing nerve pain, please feel free to share. The more we talk about it, the more we can support each other. That's letter 14 of 27. See you for letter O. It is day 15 of sharing an alphabet letter that correlates to one problem out of the several that people with a spinal cord injury go through. The reason I'm sharing this with you all is because it's Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. This is a very important month to me, and I can imagine several others. Many people, after breaking their neck or back, have to go through their life all over again, relearning a lot of already grasped skills beforehand. Spinal cord injury is scary and can change people's perspectives on how simple tasks can take every ounce of strength we've gained. Today is letter O. O is for openness. Matthew and I had only been dating for a few years when he asked me a question that caught me completely off guard. You want to start our YouTube channel? YouTube channel? About what? What would we even do? I can't hold a camera. Why would anybody care? What if we break up? But how? What? How? Why? I spiraled quickly into self-doubt. But then, stop. I had to stop these intrusive, limiting thoughts. I realized I was letting fear win again. I was the one wrapping these metal chains around my own will. Something in me, deep in my heart, whispered that maybe this was a good thing, and I knew I could trust Matthew and felt safe with him. Safe enough to challenge myself and push away beyond my comfort zone. And maybe, just maybe, a YouTube channel could be a fun, exciting way for us to try new things together. So I said yes, a hesitant, trembling, nervous yes, but a yes nonetheless. And everything changed. After my spinal cord injury, my world felt like it had slammed shut. One moment I was living freely on a beautiful fall day, and the next I was in a hospital room, unable to move, grieving the loss of the life I once knew. When I finally returned home, it felt like the world didn't open back up with me. I couldn't play basketball with my friends. I couldn't hang out at people's often inaccessible houses. I couldn't just take off a weekend at someone's lake house anymore. My vibrant social life disappeared, and I shut myself down right along with it. Even in college, I convinced myself that I didn't need to join clubs or get involved. I told myself it was fine, and I was fine. When deep down, I was just scared of not being accepted, scared of encountering obstacles, scared of being different. So I built this emotional shell, strong and seemingly protective, but also isolating and cold. It kept me from getting hurt, yes, but it also kept me from truly living. Then came Matthew again, persistent as ever, encouraging me, challenging me, inviting me to open up. I finally said yes to joining some campus clubs, even as a wheelchair-using college professor. That yes took everything in me. I was terrified, but once I got in the room, I was met with warm acceptance and belonging. And that's when I learned one of the most important lessons I carried since my injury. Openness changes everything. Being open to that one experience shifted my entire outlook on life. So when Matthew asked me about the YouTube channel, I tapped into that same bravery. I reminded myself that trying something new, even if scary, is often where the best parts of life begin. So I said yes again, and that yes turned into one of the most rewarding journeys I've ever been on. 4 years later, I'm in awe of all the things we've tried. Things I once thought were completely off the table for someone like me. Surfing, snow and water, skiing, hiking, road trips, roller coasters, jet skiing, Ferris wheels. It still blows my mind. And it all started with being open. I get it. Being open is hard, it's uncomfortable, it's scary, and yeah, sometimes things don't go the way you hoped. But that's okay, because failure is part of the journey, and it only makes the victories feel that much sweeter. So if you're standing on the edge of a decision, scared to say, yes, I see you, I've been you, but let me say, the view from the other side is beautiful. That's letter 15 of 27. See you for letter P. It is day 16 of sharing an alphabet letter that correlates to one problem out of the several that people with a spinal cord injury go through. The reason I'm sharing this with you all is because it's Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. This is a very important month to me, and I can imagine several others. Many people, after breaking their neck or back, have to go through their life all over again, relearning in a lot of already grasped skills beforehand. Spinal cord injury is scary and can change people's perspectives on how simple tasks can take every ounce of strength we've gained. Today is letter P. P stands for pressure sores. Because of my C3 spinal cord injury, I face several challenges when it comes to pressure sores. Fortunately, I haven't experienced a large number of them, but the few I've had were quite serious. Most of the pressure sores I've developed tend to occur on my toes, primarily because I wear shoes for long periods throughout the day. One incident that stands out happened in October 2024 during a homecoming dance. I was wearing dress shoes for several hours while socializing and having a great time. As the night went on, I began to feel a mild episode of autonomic dysreflexia, AD. It wasn't severe, but it was enough to signal that something wasn't right. When I got home, Matthew helped me take off my socks, and that's when we discovered the issue. The last pinky toe was bleeding, and there was a noticeable tear in the skin. Due to the nature of my injury, my skin doesn't heal at the normal rate. So what might have been a minor injury for someone else turned into a more prolonged issue for me. It ended up being diagnosed as a grade 2 pressure sore, which took about a week to heal fully. This experience was a reminder of how important it is for me to monitor pressure areas closely and to be cautious with footwear, especially when I know I'll be wearing shoes for extended periods. Thankfully, there are ways to treat and manage how often I get pressure sores. Since I don't have sensation and my autonomic dysreflexia only kicks in when it's already too late, that warning system isn't always enough to fully prevent them. So for the past 4 years, I've been doing something called the 30 to 5. Every 30 minutes, I do a weight shift and hold that position for 5 minutes. It's been a game changer for me. I rarely ever get pressure sores now, which I'm super grateful for. Shoes, on the other hand, are a bit trickier. I wear them a lot, honestly probably too much, and that can lead to pressure sores too. Lately, I've been learning to give my feet some breathing room by taking off my shoes and socks for a while, just to make sure my toes don't get affected. Jeans can be another sneaky issue, especially with all the metal buttons and stiff parts. Thankfully, I found jeans that don't have buttons. They're kind of like leggings, but not really, if that makes sense. They've been a great alternative. Overall, I'm really thankful that I don't deal with pressure sores too often, but it definitely takes consistency and attention to keep it that way. Skin is our biggest organ, so it's absolutely worth protecting. That's letter 16 of 27. See you for letter Q. It is day 17 of sharing an alphabet letter that correlates to one problem out of the several that people with a spinal cord injury go through. The reason I'm sharing this with you all is because it's Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. This is a very important month to me, and I can imagine several others. Many people, after breaking their neck or back, have to go through their life all over again, relearning a lot of already grasped skills beforehand. Spinal cord injury is scary and can change people's perspectives on how simple tasks can take every ounce of strength we've gained. Today is letter Q. The letter Q stands for quad hands. Today, I want to talk about something very personal. My hands and my wife's hands. Both of us are quadriplegic, so we know all too well the reality of living with what's often called quad hands. But even though we share this experience, there are some key differences in what we go through daily. My hands, a love-hate relationship. I've had quad hands for about 6 years now. That's because before my spinal cord injury, I was already living with ALS, which significantly affected my hands. ALS gave my hands a kind of claw-like shaped fingers, stiff, straightened out, and incredibly difficult to control. Add in constant spasms, and you've got a perfect recipe for frustration. Even before my spinal cord injury, I had no grip function. I dropped things all the time and couldn't pick them back up. That was hard to accept, though I did have something called tenodesis, which I'll explain in a bit. Fast forward to 2021, I suffered a C3 spinal cord injury. I couldn't move a single limb. In the beginning, I completely lost what little hand function I had. The hands that were already frustrating were now unusable and still spasming. Jackpot, right? I spent 22 months in ICU and rehab, and during that time, I gained back my thumb. Dashed my thumb, but that was a game changer. I can't use tenodesis, but my thumb gave me a level of independence I haven't had in years. Now I can type this post, move my wheelchair joystick, rub my wife's hands, and do a bunch of other little things that add up to something big. It might seem small to someone else, but for me, that thumb has been everything. Of course, it's not all wins. My hand still spasms, and when that happens, even the thumb locks up. I go from being able to do things to being stuck, just like that. It's incredibly frustrating, but at the same time, these hands, even as limited as they are, have opened new possibilities for me. My wife's hands. My wife has a bit of an advantage. She has tenodesis. That's where when she curls her wrist, her fingers naturally curl inward, enough to create a basic grip. Her fingers don't work on their own, but this motion gives her enough control to grab things like her phone, her catheter, or even my medical supplies. It's not a strong grip, but it works, and she's grateful for that. Still, it has its frustrating moments. Like when her phone falls off her lap during a spasm and hits the floor, she'll spend 10 minutes trying to pick it up. Then Matthew comes over, and in 1 second, Matthew got it back in her hand. It drives her crazy. Not because he's helping, but because it looks so easy for him and was so hard for her, and I get that. So yeah, our quad hands give us a kind of freedom, but they also give us a whole lot of frustration. We've learned to adapt, to help each other, and to laugh when we can. Our hands don't work like they used to, or like we want them to, but we make them work for us in whatever way we can. That's the reality of living with quad hands. It's tough, it's annoying, and it's humbling. So yes, our quad hands are extremely beneficial, but also incredibly frustrating at times. Hence the love-hate relationship. That's letter 17 of 27. See you for letter R. It is day 18 of sharing an alphabet letter that correlates to one problem out of the several that people with a spinal cord injury go through. The reason I'm sharing this with you all is because it's Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. This is a very important month to me, and I can imagine several others. Many people, after breaking their neck or back, have to go through their life all over again, relearning a lot of already grasped skills beforehand. Spinal cord injury is scary and can change people's perspectives on how simple tasks can take every ounce of strength we've gained. Today is letter R. R is for regaining function. Over the course of my injury, I've actually regained a little bit of function, believe it or not. When someone gets a spinal cord injury, whether it's complete, incomplete, or severed, it affects the nerves that run up and down the spinal cord. I like to explain it like this. Imagine a road. Before the accident, the road is clear and every car or nerve signal can get by. But once you're in an accident, a fall, crash, diving incident, etc., the road develops a construction site. The spinal cord is injured and the nerves are now blocked. This means little to no signals can get through, so the messages don't reach your brain. That's what causes paralysis. The brain simply can't communicate with those parts of the body anymore. After my surgery, they had to heavily reconstruct my C4-C5 area. My C3 was damaged, but it was an incomplete injury, meaning there was still a slight opening, like a roadblock where maybe one car can squeeze by, and that one car, that one signal, made a huge difference. It allowed me to regain some function, like being able to slightly breathe on my own without active ventilator support. I also gained the ability to move my thumb and regain sensation on the top of my hand. Those small things meant the world to me. They opened up a whole new reality, a world I hadn't known for 17 months after my accident. Sadly, I haven't regained any more function or sensation since then. It's now been 31 months. But all that time with this new sensation really helped me navigate life differently and find new ways to use the function I do have. For example, showers used to feel like life or death for me because I couldn't breathe on my own, but now because I can, showers are no longer as scary. Matthew doesn't have to keep a constant eye on me anymore during them, which is a huge relief for both of us. It takes a lot of stress off the mind. Recovery is such a big world in the SCI world. It comes in so many different forms. Even though I've been told I'm not supposed to have any hand movement, I do, and I'm incredibly blessed. That's letter 18 of 27. See you for letter S.